coming on here live right after the opening bell every day, pretty much for over a week now. And our whole, premise for doing this was that when volatility spikes, it spikes in both directions. So we were waiting for some sort of rebound rally to take shape that we can play, right, and express a bullish thesis on. So I'm going to share my charts quick. We're just going to go through, Spencer, some of the slides that we talked about on Friday. Did you guys like the show on Friday? Was it helpful? If you didn't see it, go back and watch, because Friday was for taking a step back and really just walking through process. I felt like we were moving really fast. We were coming on here, right, during really volatile sessions, trying to punch up charts live, do some live charting, right? And the market was moving 5% both directions on us while we were doing this. Friday, we took a step back. We said, here's how we do this in these environments. Here's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for, right? Here are some of the things that we're scanning for. We talked about our process. We do this during every tradable low, right? We search for that relative strength. We wait for the momentum to come in, right, to trigger an entry, and then we play these bounces. So Friday, we talked about Palantir. Really, first and foremost, here's the thesis with Palantir. U.S. growth is completely washed out, right? The whole area has been crushed. And really, U.S. growth hasn't been working well since last summer, is the truth. Look at something like semiconductors. It's been a rough almost 12 months now for U.S. growth. To think that some sort of massive, even counter-trend rally would come underway and leave out U.S. growth, I think it's crazy. I think these are the best vehicles for a bounce. Mag 7s, Palantir, Salesforce, whatever. Pick your favorite tech stock, right? So we picked Palantir on Friday. The relative strength here has just been off the charts. We played it through calls. We sent out a note to our breakout multiplier members Friday afternoon. We bought the calls. We sent out another note this morning. Palantir popped 9-10% at the opening bell. We sold half of our position. We're quick. We want to be out, sell that double fast, take some profits, right? That insulates us from any risk. We take all of our risk capital back, and it's a free ticket. It's a free ticket in a volatile market where Palantir could scream higher back to new all-time highs this week, right? And we got a ticket on it. That's what we're trying to do. I think breakout multiplier is perfect for this environment. Let me tell you why. We think maybe it's the beginning of a new bear market. We got to wait and see, right? But we got our first series of lower highs and lower lows. This is a new downtrend for U.S. stocks. Do we really want to run out there and buy common stock right now? We don't know that the bottom's in. We don't know that the primary trend is pointed up again at all. Probably need a lot more evidence for that. Do I want to own Apple for the next 12 months? When I buy common stock, I like to hold it for 12 months. The answer is no. But do I want exposure to Apple and the Mag 7s and Palantir for the next week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe month, maybe 2 months? Sure. Options give you options. It's what we like to say. Options allow you to do that. You can click the link. It's right here below the video. Argentina is on fire, wavy. Shout out Latin America. Palantir, one that we talked about on Friday. How about the Rigetti? Guys, quantum is back, right? We talked about Rigetti again. This is one we're really interested in. Maybe we put a trade on this one today. A lot of these space and exploration stocks, too, looking really good again. The ASTS, the Rocket Labs. I'm going to flip it in just a second here, Spencer. Here's Apple scooping and scoring. If we're back above 200 in the Apple, I think we could trade the hell out of it on the long side. I think Microsoft. Oh, that's Solana. We'll get to Microsoft. We'll look at some other Mag 7s. But another one, guys, don't sleep on the cryptos. I think you could play it long through MicroStrategy. You could play it long through the IBIT. Or what I did this weekend, I just went and loaded up on Solana and Ripple. I love the fact that they tried to break Solana down from this massive top. It's more than a 12-month top here. It's a huge distribution formation. So they break it down. We get below 120. But guess what never happens? This was never a confirmed breakdown. This thing was just waiting to fail. Why? Momentum never got oversold. That's crazy. Right? A massive top like this, momentum should get oversold on the completion of that top. Never happened here. Solana kept showing relative strength, kept hanging on right down here, right just, south of 120. And then you got the hook this weekend. A big scoop and score move. Saturday was for the cryptos, right? So I think you could play Solana long above 120. I think you could do Ripple long against 2. We don't have the Ripple. Spencer, flipping it to live charts. Are you ready? Bang. All right, this is the spaghetti rigetti. You draw it like this. You got a nice coil. I think you could play the breakout, right? This downtrend line
Wait,
break.
Steve,
and then
you have to stop. Reset the screen share.
Oh. Tech support.
There
Bang.
we go.
Okay, bear with me, guys. We'll only be another 5 minutes. I'm going to give you some good ideas. And Wavy, I like Latin America. We're all in on Brazil. Two of the trades that we sent out Friday were actually Brazil themed. I'm also all in on Europe. I really like Europe here. I think that relative trend that's favoring ex-US equities still very much in place, right? The market is telling us right now, through all this selling pressure of the last 3 weeks, through all this volatility, the market's been telling us you should probably stay overweight ex-US. Okay, so we're playing a bounce. Mag 7s. I think that's a place to go right now. US growth has been banged up a lot more than ex-US trade, right? So we talked about stuff like European banks on here Friday. Love that trade, right? We're all in on the European banks right now. Massive breakout. However, how about some of the stuff that's really been banged up the most and I think is due for a massive bounce? Something like Microsoft. Could it be any cleaner in the Mr. Softy than this like 387-ish level, right? Let's clean this up a little bit. So you see the VWAP holding from the cycle lows right here. Tested it for the first time since early 2023. Right, it's a huge level to test. And then I think you could use the VWAP from the August sell-off, or I'm sorry, this is the September lows of 2023. I think you can use that VWAP for confirmation here. So many different ways you can get confirmation, right? I'll mark my charts up like this. When I'm playing a pattern like this, right? Oh, look at that, bang. You're right there. You could use that VWAP, right, from the January highs. You could go even further back. You know, Brian Shannon loves using the Jan 1 VWAP, right? That's a big one. That's going to put you right around the same place. I could go and use the VWAP from the peak last December. Right? You could do all these different things. You could drop one everywhere, right? Go crazy. But all these little squiggly lines are going to do is let you know that you're on the right track as you reclaim one and then another, right? You could scale into positions like this. I think if Microsoft gets back into this box, which it is today, then you're heading back to the upper bounds of this range, right? So we're talking about 450, 470, maybe a test of the highs, right? So that's a great trade there. Something like NVIDIA, patterns very similar to Microsoft, right? You got this little failed top setup. You got a little oversold reading here. I prefer no oversold, but this is fine. This is fine. Seeing a big volatility spike to the upside here after a massive spike to the downside in January. I think NVIDIA, if we can hook higher, I don't like this view up here. If we can hook higher here, I think you got the highs from what, Wednesday of last week, right here, 115. 115 is your trigger. If we take out 115 in NVIDIA, we're going to 150. I started scaling in on this one last week against 100. So I like it a lot. Let's look at the Google. That's giving you a really clean level here as well, right? So Google, I think against these September 2024 lows, call it 150, getting a pop here today. You can anchor VWAPs in a similar fashion on this one. They're going to be a little further out, yeah. And that's how you get confirmation, right? Once those VWAPs start getting reclaimed, you're just talking about the upper bounds of the range, right? Or a retest of the old highs. So we talked about Solana. Let's also cover Ripple here. The relative strength from the Ripple has just been incredible. So good. This has been the best cryptocurrency since late last year. You see this big ramp off of the November lows. This was the election rally. Ripple gained about 600%. And it's really just been orderly since, right? Has it given some back? Sure. Everything in crypto has given some back. Everything in the stock market's given something back, right? But all things considered, this is an altcoin. Incredible relative strength, right? The leadership here, not just in crypto, but against risk asset markets more broadly, stands out. So Ripple above, call it 190. And I think you're getting confirmation here right around 218, right? With that VWAP. So that's great. Love the Ripple. Another way to play it, long the micro strategy. Still think this is probably a zero over time, but I'm going to trade the hell out of it on the long side for this bounce. If crypto's leading this bounce, MicroStrategy is going to be one of the best stocks. We've seen it before, and I think you got a really clear level here around 300 and the MSTR. MSTR above 300, it could double fast, something like this. And then I would say, just to wrap up, you have special situations in this market too. There's some biotechs that really stand out to us. Rhythm was one that we talked about last week, right? Rhythm continues to hold up, looks really good. Look at this big volume here last week, right? We're breaking out of this downtrend channel. We're back above the VWAP from the highs. I think Rhythm's about to take off. Another one we like a lot is the Summit. Summit's up now another 7% here today. I mean, it was up like 15%, 15%, 10%, 15% last Thursday, Friday. More follow through here today. Summit's really gunning for its highest level since September of 2024, right? So I think this one's about to break out, maybe achieve some new all-time highs. So there's stuff in biotech. There's stuff internationally. There's always stuff internationally. C Limited is bouncing back strong. I like a lot of these Brazilian ADRs, like the Pag Seguro. Look at this beautiful base. You can play some of these setups, right? It's a little bit spicier here. Something like PAGs, your long real, your long speculative growth, right? At the same time, you got a nice little tactical base breakout here. You could define your risk right around 850. This one starts filling, this little memory gap here. That's great. This could be at 14 in no time. So keep watching the international. I think U.S. growth are going to give us some of the best vehicles for a bounce. I think stuff like energy and commodities, you want to take a breather on. Don't chase stuff like gold or silver here. I think U.S. growth, the mags will get you done. I think breakout multiplier, just getting long calls, trying to play a bounce, right? We use this as a portfolio sleeve more than anything. And it's so good for times like these where I'm a little bit not even unsure about the primary trend. I just think chances are good that we're in a new bear market. So do I want to go out loading in the common stock? No, let's buy some calls, put some kickers on, try to play this bounce, right? And if we're wrong, and we lose what we spend on the calls, right? We're not stuck in some common stock. So I think breakout multiplier, perfect for this market. I think, thank you guys for being here and joining me for the past week, kind of walking through this together. It's been a lot of fun. Really appreciate you guys. Check out breakout multiplier. We dropped the link in the chat. We're going to put on some more calls today. We're going to play this bounce. We're going to see where it takes us, right? And then we'll reassess how we feel about the primary trend. For now, market's in rally mode. We want to be in get money mode in our portfolios. We want to be putting on long exposure. Check out breakout multiplier. That's how we get it done. Thank you all for joining me. The past week has been a pleasure.